and we're answering more of your questions. I've got 5 at least more lined up. I may dabble a little further. We'll just see. I am going to be crunched for time, so that may affect us too. This first person says, I've been dealing with general health issues, pancreatitis that ended up with an NJ tube, had to have a GJ tube, over 12 back surgeries, and a failed neurostimulator. Let me go through here. Okay, she says that she thinks she's on a small dose, 3 Percocet a day, 7.5. I would call that moderate, not necessarily small, but that's okay. Letting it slide. But basically, now you're being told that you have to choose between pain or muscle spasms, and I just completely disagree with that. And what do you think about all these injections? So let's start with the injections. The first thing is, what do I think about injections? They are not FDA approved. A lot of people will tell you that, whatever. What I want to say about that is just because they're FDA approved doesn't mean they never work. It's a little bit art, not science. And if I was offered steroid injections, hey Joanne, how are you, darling? If I was offered steroid injections, I would probably accept one, possibly two. But if the first two didn't work, they would have to go a very long way to try and convince me why I needed to try a third one. Now, um, I don't think that they should be forced on you. That's the number one problem I have with interventional medicine, is they almost always end up making you feel like if I don't take your injections, then I'm not going to be able to get my pain medicine, and that's the real problem I have with that. Um, as far as letting it slide, I don't think that that person was really listening to how they sound. I'm not sure. Let's see here. Do, 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 do. Okay. One, you did ask about the book. You asked about how to help other people get the book. And one of the things I'll say is the best way to buy the book for someone else is to go to here and go to merchandise. Donated books is one of your choices. So if that thing comes through, and I'm not going to tell your business, there's something she discussed a little bit of financials. If that comes through and you're able, there's where you go. That's the easiest place to do it. Um, and after that, let's see. I'm answering questions. I'm answering questions from patients. I am a primary care and pain management provider. All right, let's see here. I love what you said at the end there. Unapologetically me. You should be. Because what does the book say? The book says you are more. And you're asking a question. Uh, Joanne, I haven't been able to get to adding your question to my list yet. I'm not ignoring you. And I will get to it, I promise. It is not on it's not going to be on this live though. Okay? Anyway, let's see here. The key point is be unapologetically you. Okay? Be unapologetically you. There's no reason to be anything other than that. Okay. I definitely don't think you should have to choose between your Xanax, your muscle relaxer, and your pain medicine. Unfortunately, I'm on the wrong side of that equation at the moment because right now the DEA is still, because I actually have an agenda. And if you're going to be ugly like that, let's see what I can do here. Um, put user in timeout. That sounds like 24 hours. Thank you. I'm not going to be listening. I'm not going to have ugliness on this forum. Anyway, let's go to the next question. The next question is, I know you don't treat anyone in Franklin County, but my son had severe scoliosis and 2 8-inch rods put in his spine at the age of 15. Now, he's in pain daily, and PCP will not give him more than a Norco 1.5 a day. He gets 1 Xanax every day, and he's also on Adderall. Um, our family genetics are not good at all. He's seen a neurologist and an orthopedic surgeon, and he said that and they told him that he's just going to hurt. I disagree with that. I disagree with the fact that they basically told him that you just have to suck it up. There is a stupid opinion, and I call it stupid intentionally. There is a stupid opinion where people will try and say you're too young to be on pain medicine. I think it leans more on the pathology. Oh, no problem, Joanne. I don't want you. I just want you to know that you're not being ignored. No problem. Anyway, um, the it's when someone has been broke, literally, their body has been broke. You cannot stop the chronic pain, just by happy thoughts. What can I do to help my son? Continue to advocate the way that you are. Okay. He the They're trying to get you to give up, and your wait a minute, your son has a 7-year-old son as well. His wife and definitely myself would be devastated. Oh, because he's talking about taking his own life. There you go. You cannot give up. You cannot give up. And somebody out there is going to understand. Somebody out there is going to understand that even somebody else is going to understand that Norco 15 milligrams a day probably isn't cutting it for his pain plan. Okay. You do need the book. If you don't have the book yet, you do need to go because there's a lot of questions I don't have time to answer on this because basically you asked the book. That's the kind of question you asked. There's a little bit of an answer to your question here, a little bit there, a little bit there, but you need the book because it's what brings it all together. The number one thing that you're going to do is there is actually a specific chapter called "Some Broken Things Will Always Be," and that is on page. Here we go. That's on page 69. Some broken things will always be. And it specifically addresses the fact that um, when people say that you're too young to be in this much pain, I'm sorry. I didn't ask to have a car slam me, T-bone me. I'm sorry. I didn't ask to be born with severe scoliosis that basically requires that you take my spine, squish it, sorry, and straighten it out, put rods to hold it in place, and expect that that's just going to be okay. I didn't sign up for that. And this is what I'm talking about. Your son didn't sign up for that. And all you have to do is not be defensive. I understand that you have your opinion. I have found that whenever he tries to live completely without pain medicine, he gets this way. Thinks about taking, unalive and all that stuff. And the number one thing he should not be going to his appointments alone. He needs you. That's my number one advice. You are chapter 3, the advocate and accountability partner, and that begins on page 15. You're chapter 3. He needs you. And to be honest with you, I know that there are moments that you feel like you're not enough, but you are. Okay? That's my advice on that. Third question. I live in Arkansas, and I'm in chronic pain every day. Every day. I was with my doctor for 26 years. I've been on hydrocodone and Xanax for all that time, 26 years. You got to understand that part of my issue is that when someone has been on medications that long, the most medically compassionate thing you can do when you first meet them is leave their medicine alone. Don't Quit doctoring numbers and doctor the patient sitting in front of you. Quit coming in and saying, I'm worried about a person because he's on both of those medicines and they've been found to live shorter lives. You know what? You take those medicines from that person, they're going to live a very short life because they're going to make it short themselves. Quit judging a plan before you even know the patient. I've never misused my meds. My body is broken and I'm in my 60s and I'm fixing to order your book. Well, I'm glad that you are, Wade. I'm glad that you are because you're going to need the book for some of these battles. I hope I can find another doctor like the doctor I had. I believe that doctor's out there. If nothing else, I believe there's a doctor that will at least put you back on your original plan. May not be able to go up on it, but at least put you back on the plan that was working before somebody screwed it up. Wade, I am praying for you. This is not your fault. All right. Question number 4. Please help me understand why I've been taking off Xanax to sleep, medical legal marijuana, and any and all forms of alcohol to receive my breakthrough pain med of oxycodone along with the buprenorphine. I tested positive for alcohol about 6 months ago, and more one time 6 months ago or more. One time that he tested positive for alcohol. Recently, I tested for alcohol again, second time. I was never told that I couldn't have a glass of wine with my dinner, nor should you be. Okay? My medical record says I was counseled twice for alcohol, and now I'm no longer to have any oxycodone for my breakthrough pain. Help me. What can I do to have the oxycodone reinstated? If your doctor is treating you this way, I don't know that you're going to be able to have it reinstated there. So you might have to get it reinstated elsewhere. You need to go and tell somebody else what happened to you. Okay, this is going to be part of your 3-minute life story. And again, the 3-minute life, by the way, where's the book found besides here? On Amazon, okay? You search by this last name. You can pause it and write down the letters. I know it's backwards, but you can do that, okay? And you'll find it on Amazon too. But anyway, what did I just say? Hold on a second. Oh, that's right. We're live. I can't pause. Let's see here. Okay. First of all, you know that you need a new PCP. That's another chapter. But the other chapter I was going to find, how do you get the oxycodone reinstated? Oh, that's the chapter I'm referring to. When you know you need a new provider is on page 25. Because the fact that he wouldn't even talk to you about what amount of alcohol was allowed and which one was refuted means that he's not interested in anything but cherry picking. And when you have a doctor that wants to cherry pick who he writes controlled meds for, you're not going to have a lot of success changing their mind. Remember, the book doesn't work on assholes. The book gives you the courage to leave the assholes and find someone else. And you can find buprenorphine anywhere. At this point, if you're only on buprenorphine, there is nothing holding you there. Okay? However, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. My preference would be that you go back to your PCP, or you ask your PCP to prescribe what you were on until you can get in with another pain clinic. That's my advice. My advice is he told you that you need a new provider based on their actions. Now, all right. Okay, the next question, we are now up to question 5. I live in North Carolina, and the doctor told me all I can get is 90 15 milligram oxycodone and 60 Belbuca 300 microgram. So Belbuca 300 microgram twice a day, and he said that's all I can get. I've had chronic pain for years, and I used to get 120 milligram oxycodone from him. I hope you noticed that there wasn't a question in there. I think the question is, how do I get on a more reasonable plan of care? First of all, I do need you to understand that you're not on low dose, even on your current plan. 15 milligrams is 45 of oxycodone. Multiply that times 1.5, and that gets you to about 65. The buprenorphine, 300 micrograms, 600 micrograms, that's almost a milligram. That's about 100 morphine equivalents. So you're not on low dose. I agree with you, Joanne. I hate when people do that. And you are lucky to be allergic to a drug that they keep trying to force on people. I don't disagree with that at all. That's just ridiculous. But anyway, so to the person that asked this question, you do need to begin with an understanding that you're not on low dose. Are you on the dosing you was on before? Let's see, 200, and you used to get 3 of those a day plus an extra 10. So That's 90. You are just a little over 100 morphine equivalents. I'd say that you actually are on higher morphine equivalents now, but I also recognize that buprenorphine is not oxycodone. So you may just be a poor responder. Now, you said, I used to get that from him. I think you can take him at face value when he says you're not going to get any more. Okay? I think you can take him at face value. And so, therefore, if you can take him at face value, then you're looking for a new provider. Anytime anytime a provider will not negotiate with you or talk to you. Now, I'm not saying, listen, I reach a point with some patients that think that there's always one more pill to give. By the way, that's a chapter in the book too. Chapter on page, oh, a second. Here we go. Two things you cannot, okay. On page 65 begins the chapter called "There's Not Always One More Pill to Give." So I'm not saying that they're wrong in their dosing. What I'm saying is, if the only thing they will say is you're not getting any more, that's not a conversation. That's not a conversation at all. And if it's not a conversation, then you know, uh, they're not going to change their mind because they're trying very hard not to have a conversation. They're trying very hard not to talk about this. So again, what are you going to do? You're going to stay where you're at until you find another provider. And all you have to say to the next provider is, I need a second opinion on my pain plan because it's not working. A new provider, and if you don't trash that, make sure that when you go to the new provider, make sure you do not trash the old provider. Hold on, let me say that again. When you go to the new provider, I am in primary care and pain management. When you go to the new provider, do not trash your old provider. All it does is make you look spiteful to the new provider and puts them on the defensive themselves because they're going to say, well, if he'll talk about this person, what's he going to say about me? So be careful about that, okay? I'm not saying that I don't understand. I'm telling you this because I do understand, and I've had the same temptation, okay? So go and simply state, the part that I need help with is they're not listening to me when I say the plan is not working. When you go to say the plan is not working, you need to have something better than the pain scale. I don't want to hear about, I'm not going to answer that particular question in the fashion that you're asking it because A, I don't have enough information. B, you're not my patient. And C, there are a lot of different other ways. If it hurts, it's probably not. Okay? Painful usually means something infectious, not cancer. Moving on. If you now, I'm going to see here. So that's my advice for that question. Now the next question. I am seeing a doctor that is out of my network, um, and so I'm paying out of pocket. And I do get my pain medication from her and all my other medications that I take. I need to find a doctor that's in my network, but I don't want this to be a deal breaker if I'm not going to get my pain medicine. So, as I have been going to doctors typically, oh, okay, all right, I apologize. The last part of the question is this: do doctors typically keep you on the pain medication from the previous doctors? And the patient says he's on Medicare. No, that's a crapshoot. Okay? I need you to understand it's a crapshoot. Um, and I also understand that you need to find someone in your network. That doesn't mean that there's no one in your network that will take care of you, but it's going to require a little bit of planning on your part. If I was in your shoes, here's what I would begin to do. I would begin to start pulling some medicine to the side. Okay, start having a break glass in case of emergency fund. Okay, you're probably only going to save 5 to 7 tablets, but you have to save with intentionality for several months so that you have at least 30 days. Okay, now is what I'm telling you, can it get you dismissed? Yes, it can. So let me tell you that this is not medical advice. This is not medical advice. This is not medical. Can I say it one more time? This is not medical advice. Remember that on these lives, I put myself in your shoes. And if I was going to go on a hunting expedition, and that's what it is sometimes, finding a new provider, it's nothing, it's no different than literally going snipe hunting. Because sometimes it seems like they're not even out there, but they are. Okay. But that doesn't mean that you don't need to plan for a dry season while you're looking. Okay. Because if you're Medicare, you're going to have to change your PCP on your card before even that other doctor will even see you. Okay, that's why you need to plan more. So I would think that before I pulled the trigger on my plan, I would have at least 30 days. That would have already proven that I can get by on less medicine if I have to, and then be well prepared with your 3-minute life story at the next PCP. And the only thing you're going for at the next PCP is to continue your current plan. I'll come back to that. That's actually a decent because I'm about done with the questions I intended to answer. So I will answer that one before I leave, G. Okay, that's actually a very good question. All right, now, um, and if you truly have testicular pain while I'm on that, you should be thinking epididymitis or you should be thinking testicular torsion are the things that would be most likely to cause pain. Okay. And it's a fairly urgent visit if you truly have that complaint. Now moving to let me finish this up and then I'm going to answer your other question. Okay. Look, it is going to be a deal breaker. You said, I don't want this to be a deal breaker if I'm not going to get my medicine. It is a deal breaker because you cannot survive without your medicine. So understand that means you may need to change the PCP on your card multiple times, and you may be spending some errant money while you're trying to find your forever provider. Now, it's worth the search. The very last chapter of the book. Yes, Joanne, I know the level that you've been mistreated. But the very last chapter of the book is called Don't Let the Flockers Win. Okay? And my point being is what they would do is try and keep you from getting what you need. And that's letting the flockers win. So don't give up. Now, G, the answer to the question, painkillers are not harmful to the kidneys. Nonsteroidal anti-inflammatory medications can be. They are not harmful to everybody's kidneys. They're only harmful to people who have chronic kidney disease stage 3 or greater. Okay? If you have chronic kidney disease stage 3 or greater, then you should not be on nonsteroidal anti-inflammatories. And weirdly, the safest medication for you to be on for pain if you have chronic kidney disease stage 3 or more is an opioid of some sort, even if it's buprenorphine. But it's the safest medicine to be on when you have chronic kidney disease stage 3 and you're trying to treat chronic pain. So I hope that helps. I appreciate all the participation today. Y'all make sure that you're subscribing, make sure that you're liking the shorts, make sure that you tune back in for future lives. I'm a little bit late today. I try and do them more around lunchtime. And make sure you go to drmikesays.com and consider getting the book, okay? Because the book tells you everything I covered in this 30 minutes and so freaking much more. Love y'all very much. No buts.